Great day, great day, great day, great day, my friend. Welcome to another edition of Fast Track Academy. I am Rich, and I am the Chief Executive Officer for Momentum Consulting. At Momentum Consulting, we believe that education plus application makes all the difference in the world. I'm really excited to take you through um, the 101 of prospecting. The 101 of prospecting. And I'm passionate about prospecting. I mean, prospecting is to me, it's the lifeblood of any sales organization, any organization that has aspirations on growing and taking their businesses to the next level. Prospecting is part of that deal. And a little bit about me for those that don't know, my background is I originally started out in sales. I worked for an annuity company downtown Bethesda, Maryland, and I was part of a sales team. Part of what we did, we bought. If you had a structured settlement, etc., we would buy future payments for you. And I learned sales. I learned prospecting. I learned navigating that. That's where I got the nickname Wall Street. I also have got a real estate license. Got into real estate in 2002. Had success in real estate, grew a real estate business, went on to coach, train, and teach, travel the country training real estate professionals on how to scale up. And so Fast Track Academy is a platform that we have established last year as where my mindset is it doesn't take a long time to get into production. And if we're talking real estate specifically, I guarantee any real estate agent, whether you're new in real estate or you're looking to revitalize, revamp, relaunch your business, you can have business in as little as 60 days or less. It all depends on your strategy, your structure, and your mindset. Your structure, and your mindset. And so today, I want to talk a little bit about part of that strategy is understanding this cold call thing, right? So let me just settle this right up front. I We called it cold calling because when I say cold calling, it'll be attention getting, and people are very interested in finding out what exactly is it. And so I actually believe it should be referred to as warm calling or dialing for dollars. But for today, we're calling this cold calling for those that are looking to make these calls, looking to expand your business. And so I want to get right into what we have. I've set aside about 30 minutes to take us quickly through um, this slide presentation, right? And so the goal is to give information that's designed to take your business to the next level. That what if the secret to consistently finding motivated client wasn't cold calling, but conversations that practically sell themselves? Now I know we call it the 101 of cold calling, but I want to present an idea that conversations sell themselves. Conversation sell themselves. Our ability to talk smart during a prospecting or selling conversation is vital. So listen, let me do a quick poll for those that are watching. We're on LinkedIn right now and also broadcasting on our podcast channel, the Motive 8 podcast show. If you have time, we would love for you to swing past our podcast show, Motivate podcast show, where on the Motivate podcast show, we say less, but we definitely believe for more. Check it out. But what's your biggest struggle with prospecting? What's your biggest struggle? What's the biggest thing that you're challenged with as it relates to prospecting? And I want you to put that in the chat. What's your biggest challenge when it comes to prospecting? Put that in the chat. I want to see it. Is it objection handling? Is it overcoming those objectives? What is it? What's the challenge? What's the challenge? And the other thing I want to invite you to do is I'm going to invite you to connect with me offline. We have set up a private Facebook group called the Fast Track Academy, where I'm constantly pouring in, putting information and feeding and blessing that community with sales tips and strategy designed to take your business to the next level. So the basic of prospecting is number one, you need to know your ideal client. Who, what, where. Who's your ideal client? What are they interested in, and where are you finding them? Where are they spending their time? And then you understand that in this basic of prospecting, it's more important to build a relationship than it is to move for the transaction. I always say, highlight it and stress that it is the relationship that you build over the transaction. It's the relationship that you build. So are you building relationships? Are you just transaction oriented? Listen, friend, if you're transaction oriented, sure, you're going to make money. But if you're talking about long term sustainable success, then you have to focus in on building relationships with your clients, right? Consistency beats random bursts. Be consistent. There has to be a rhythmic flow to what you do. Consistency, consistency, consistency. I call it the TOT, TOT, time on task, the TOT, the time on task. How consistent are you? Listen, let me just ask a question. This is your friend Rich. I'm your coach. Pretend you hired me. And we're having some tough talk, some tough, challenging conversation right now. When was the last time the people in your sphere of influence, the people that are in your database, the people that you interact on a regular basis, either on social media and or email, mail follow up, et cetera. When was the last time you shared your mission, your mission or your vision? When was the last time? When was the last time you had a conversation where you shared your mission and you shared your vision with someone, motivating them, inspiring them to take part in whatever it is that whatever your endeavors are? Now, listen, friend, if you don't have a mission and you don't have a vision, then that will explain the results that you're currently getting. I know that may sound offensive, but I told you I'm playing Coach Rich right now. What's your mission? And what's your vision? What do you see 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 18 months from now, 3 years? If all we were in a perfect world, what would your vision look like? What would your business look like? What would you be doing? So you got to know your mission and your vision, and then you're going to have to be able to communicate your purpose, the MVP, your mission, your vision, and then you have to be able to communicate the purpose, the reason why you're doing what you're doing. But the consistency beats random burst of prospecting activities. Plug into a structure, plug into a system, and let it go. The other thing I want to let you know, here's a mindset shift, that we sell by serving. We sell by serving. What does that mean? That means that you and I are making a conscious effort to connect to the heart of our prospect. Connect with the heart. See, I firmly believe, friend, that you have to connect with what's in the heart first before you can ask for what's in the hand. You got to connect with what's in the heart. Find out about me as an individual. Now, some of us are so transaction oriented that we skip that step. And when you skip that step, surprises come up, things you didn't know. If you're a real estate agent, you get close to the settlement table, and all of a sudden your client hits you with a bomb. You're like, oh man, I didn't know that. And he was like, oh, but you never asked me, is what the client would say. Right. So let's understand this idea, that we are intentionally finding out what our customers need and how we can provide that, how we can satisfy that, how we can answer that need for our customer. Is that making sense? We're going to overcome the fear of rejection. We're going to overcome the fear of rejection. Overcome the fear of objection. Here's the reality about rejection. You're in sales, you're prospecting. It's part of it, man. You signed up for it. That's part of the call. That's the deal, man. Rejection. Probably you get rejected 90% of the time. And as you get better, you will decrease that number. But as a new, inexperienced sales professional, plan on getting rejected about 98% of the time. When I do metric selling and I'm working with a group of new realtors and we put them in our run the play training academy, is that we talk about your conversion rate. How many people did you need to talk to before you get an appointment? How many appointments do you need to go on so that you get a signature? And what's the percentage of the signature that close and make it to the settlement table? And that's specifically in real estate. However, it's applicable to any sales profession. How many conversations, how many emails, how many phone calls, how many knocking on doors to get a conversation, how many conversations to get to an appointment, how many appointment gets me to a signature, and what's the percentage of the signatures that I get that close, that I'm actually sell. There isn't a refund. There isn't some other type of challenge. Right? Overcome the fear of rejection and see yourself as a guide, not as a salesperson. See yourself as a guide and not just as a salesperson. I'm moving fast through this. And for those that are interested in it, all you have to do is drop a comment and ask for the one-on-one prospecting book. I got an ebook and it's a hardback and an ebook. This is $49, $49.95. But what I'm doing is for those that are seeing this and you want it, all you have to do is comment ebook 101 or prospecting ebook, and I'll make sure that we'll email it out to you. NEPQ, neuro empathy persuasive questions, right? And these are questions designed to disarm the way our clients psychologically are thinking, right? Watch it. Here's a persuasive question. Neuro empathy persuasive question, NEPQ. Oh, by the way, Jeremy Miner, you can just Google him. You can go on Instagram, you'll find him. You can go to YouTube and you look for Jeremy Miner. Jeremy have absolutely mastered this process of the NEPQ. Right. So here we go. What's most important to you in this decision? Now I'm looking to get the signature, but I'm asking my customer, hey, what's the most important thing to you in this decision? Or, or they're facing a challenge. How has this problem impact your day to day? See, I want them to feel emotional about the series of questions and where I'm going. This is part of the process of tapping into what's in their heart before you tap into and ask for what's in their hand. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if you could change one thing about your current situation, what would it be? I love these questions. I love these questions. Right? It's designed to invoke conversation. And if we were in a room, this is what we would be role playing, and you would get an opportunity to feel this consultative approach, right? Other than feeling pushy by the conversation. Here's a couple of reasons why I believe cold calling is outdated. Modern clients are informed and they're digital first. They're going to the internet first. If I'm selling real estate, there's Zillow and there's what's the other one? Trulia, right? Now we know Zillow and or Trulia that there's an error rate built into that. Maybe 20, 26. I think I saw one time 20 as high as 26% of the information is inaccurate. But here's the point. The point is the seller or buyer or the client, they're digital first. They'll go to the internet first. They'll use some type of AI technology, right? A chat GBT to do a market research, et cetera, and get the information before they call you. So you got to be in a position um, where we can navigate this. Cold calls waste time and harm your brand when you don't know what you're doing. Warm leads, 70% higher conversion. These are the referrals. These are conversation from your sphere of influence. In selling real estate, my niche market was for sale by owners and expired listings. They're my niche market. And so I use Land Voice, LAND Voice, and I'll drop the link to Land Voice for those that want to check it out. Land Voice to me is the number one resource if I'm in real estate for sell by owner leads, expired leads, and or if I'm working with distressed properties. You can also do a neighborhood search. You can also put in property addresses and your zip code or area, and you can get seller contact information. So that's a warm lead, right? If it's a distressed property, I'm using a tool like Land Voice. I'm getting the lead. I'm calling the seller and I'm saying, hey, listen, um, I'm just curious if you got the right price for your house, would you consider selling? That's a warm conversation because I'm calling with information I'm calling with known information. So it's not a cold call, it's a warm call. I hope this is making sense. I'm moving fast because, again, I've only set aside about 30 minutes for this conversation. So, what's new in prospecting? Social selling, like LinkedIn or Instagram or emails. You can I see a lot or read a lot of information on algorithms of LinkedIn, algorithms of Instagram, algorithms of TikTok, algorithms of YouTube. But regardless of the process, make sure you understand the systems, right? And so prospecting is these are new aspects. There are referral networks and warm introductions. There are tools for automation follow up. If I'm using Instagram, there's a software, an app called ManyCut, and then ManyCut will automate my messages. So if I post something on Instagram and someone in a comment section, they respond or request information, ManyChat would automatically send that information out for me. That's automation for a follow up. Or on the email side, I use Zoho. And so when I send emails, I know when people click on the email and I know when they open it. And so when they open it, I set a task to remind me to call them within an hour, 2 hours in some cases. And then strategic value based touch points. You already have the information. You're going to bring value to the conversation. You're bringing value to the marketplace. And so based upon that, you can have these touch points for conversation. And so you got to have engagement, reflection, and prompt, modern prospecting strategies. Which one of these prospecting do you think you can implement this week? That's the engagement and having a reflection on what you're hearing. Which of these prospecting strategies can you implement this week is the question. Now, so there are no more cold calls, no more wasted hours. You can join our coaching program. You can get some NEPQ questions that will replace your cold calling. I hope this is making sense. I hope that you find value in it. And here's the final thought I want to leave with you. Action creates results when it's tied to an objective. Action creates results when it's tied to an objection. In other words, it's the A's and O of real estate. Let me show you what I mean here. Hopefully, in this camera angle, you can see it. A's and O. Oh, wait. There you go. It's the A's and O. The A's and O. The A's and O. A's mean activity. O's mean objective. It's the A's and O. And what a lot of agents do is they have a lot of activities, right? They're out here knocking on doors and they're calling people and they're sending text messages and they're trying to keep up. And they have a lot of activities, right? But what you need to start with is objectives. This is my objective this week. I'm only going to do three things. One, two, three. Whatever these three things are, only going to do these three things. And then I'm only going to do the activities that support these objectives. So as opposed to having a ton of activities, I'm only going to have activities that support the objectives. I hope that made some sense to you. And so that's where we're going. That's my desire. That's what I want to communicate and get across to you. Let's set up a time. If you want to talk more about it, I'd be more than happy to have a conversation with you to see if there's value. What I encourage you to do, reach out to 5 referral prospects this week and try the NEP questions. Reach out to 5 referral prospects this week and have the NEPQ conversations. Or here's a fun one that I love to do. Go to a place like Target or Walmart as an example. And when the customer service person or the person at the cash register is ringing up your items, hey, give them a compliment. Say, hey, you know what? I appreciate your customer service. You're pretty good. You would do good in my business. And they'll say, what business are you in? Wham, I hit them with a business card. I sell real estate. That's what I do. So if you know of anyone that's thinking about buying or selling real estate, or if you have a couple of questions, I'd love to. And depending on the flow of the conversation, hey, just here's a scan this QR code. Boom. Or let me text you some information. Boom. Or let me email you some information. Most people will give an email address out faster than they would a phone number, but it doesn't matter. That's my point. My point is you got to be active. You got to be doing something. You got to put something in motion, right, to get the things that you desire to get. So I hope you found value in this in our conversation today. I'm Rich Wallstreet Williams from the Motivate from Momentum Consulting. At Momentum Consulting, we believe that education plus application makes all the difference in the world. Let's be